Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for checking in. It's Friday! Woohoo! Of a long holiday weekend. Woohoo! Happy holidays, everybody. Happy Memorial Day coming up. Happy Friday, happy weekend. It's Funny Friday, a regular feature of Live with Lorielle, where we share jokes, put everybody in a good mood for the weekend. And there is YouTube starting. That's how long the lag is. Sorry I'm late. There's incredibly horrible traffic right now because it's Friday, a holiday weekend, and I was trying to get across town, which is never a good plan. So hello. Thank you for checking in. Let me say hello to everybody. Hello, Star and Shocker and Sturgis Guy and Tesis and House of Dave and Sam and St. Clinton and Eric and Petey and Tim and Ryan and Photo and Philip Chandler and Mark Mean and Star Raven and Angie Tomlinson and Fairies Lover and Lucky Girl and Azure Yusuf and the Cram and Marcel and Jim Dandy and Sturgis Guy and Bill Knaus and Scott Kimmis and Joe Barney and Red Stapler and John McCain and Blair Cooper and Terry Sue and Brett and N1QOV and Joe Barney and Sam and St. Clinton and Wing Doggy and Cosmic Joe and Jay Dahlman and Moto Medic and Boot and Swede and Max. Woohoo! Thank you for checking in. Great to see everybody. Hello! It's Funny Friday! It's finally Friday! I am exhausted. And Marcel has the first joke of the day. Woohoo! Yay, Marcel. Marcel says, 3 nuns die and go to heaven, but they all must answer one question to get in, even though they've been a nun all their lives. The first nun is asked, who was the first man on earth? And she says, Adam. Lights flash and the pearly gates open. Okay, that was easy. The second nun is asked, who was the first woman on earth? And she says, Eve. Lights flash and the pearly gates open. And, yeah, easy questions for nuns. The third nun is asked, what was the first thing Eve said to Adam? Puzzled, the nun says, that's a hard one. Lights flash! And the pearly gates open. Woohoo! Hello, Sam. Thanks for checking in. Woohoo! David Jones said he already took today off. Wow, good for you, David Jones. So you've got today off and Monday off. 4-day weekend for David Jones. He's gonna go crazy. Right now he's got an entire pig and he's gonna barbecue it. Marcel has a second joke. Maria, a devout Catholic, got married and had 10 children. After her first husband died, she remarried and had 10 more children. A few weeks after her second husband died, Maria also passed away. At Maria's funeral, the priest looked skyward and said, at least they're finally together. Her sister is sitting in the front row and says, excuse me, Father, do you mean she and her first husband? Or she and her second husband? And the priest replies, I mean her legs! Her legs! No, what? She's a dooger. Hello, Linda. David Jones has a party tomorrow. Woohoo! David Jones is already getting ready for his party tomorrow. He's wearing his special party clothes. He's got a party suit on. All right. Well, we got another one here. Let me see if I can get back to that. Come on. Oh, hello. Let me move the chat, please. All right, here. Marcel has another one. A leprechaun walks into a bar after several pitchers of beer. The leprechaun runs over to a large, mean-looking guy, sticks out his tongue, and spits at his legs. The guy reaches out to grab the leprechaun, only to miss him as he jumps back in the seat. If you know what's good for you, you don't come near me again, or I'll rip your little tallywagger, yells the mean-looking man. After a few more pitchers of beer, The naughty leprechaun runs back over to the mean-looking guy. Sticks out his tongue and spits all over his legs. Again, this time the guy successfully catches the leprechaun and says, "All right, I've got you this time, and I warned you. Now I'm gonna rip off your little tallywagger." The leprechaun laughs and says, "You can't do that." "Why not?" says the captor. "Because," giggles the leprechaun, "leprechauns don't have tallywaggers." "What do you mean you don't have a tallywagger?" growls the angry man. "How the hell do you pee?" "Like this," laughs the leprechaun. Sticks out his tongue and spits again on the man. "Ooh, hey, I think you better rip off his tongue." You read that on your joke site? What's the deal with leprechauns not having tallywaggers? And what the hell is a tallywagger anyhow? Please do not tell me that any man in the world refers to his penis as a tallywagger. No, don't do that. Don't, guys, words of advice. Don't call it a tallywagger. Unless you never, ever want to have sex with a woman. Marcel's got one more joke. 3 guys die and go to hell, and Satan asks the first guy, "What was your daddy when you were alive?" And he says, "He was a candle maker." So Satan burns off the guy's dick. Ah! Satan asks the second guy, "What was your daddy when you were alive?" And the second guy goes, "He was a rope maker." So Satan rips off the guy's dick with a rope. Satan goes to the third guy. He goes, "All right, what was your daddy when you were alive?" And the third guy smiles and says, "He made lollipops." Ooh. So Satan bites off his dick. Linda says she's actually heard it was a tallywhacker. No. Tell me that either. Sam, you can't complain about the jokes if you're not giving any. You can't complain if you're not coming up with jokes yourself, Sam. There. Thank you. Ooh, Marcel's got one more. Marcel says, "A plane was flying over an island when the passengers heard the pilot's voice say, 'Ladies and gentlemen, if you look out to the right side of the plane, you will see the engine on fire. Ooh. If you look out onto the left side of the plane, you'll see a wing on fire. And if you look down, you will see me and the co-pilot in parachutes waving at you. This is a recording.' Hey! You're supposed to go down with the ship." Oh, Linda's got one. She says it's an oldie but a goodie. All right. 2 priests are walking down the street when a drunk man comes up to them and he says to the first priest, "I'm Jesus Christ." The priest replies, "No, son, you're not." So he says to the second priest, "I'm Jesus Christ." And the second priest says, "No, son, you're not." The drunk man looks at them both and says, "Look, I can prove it." He takes the 2 priests to the bar and walks in, And the bartender takes one look at the drunk and says, Jesus Christ, you're here again? Tojo! It's Funny Friday, where we share jokes to put everyone in a good mood for the long weekend. So yeah, and for anyone who has jokes, just write the whole joke and the answer out, and I will try to read it without butchering it. So I cannot guarantee that there won't be any butchering. So, Marcel has another one. Guy walks into a store and buys 6 jumbo boxes of condoms. The store looks at the guy and says, wow, what are you going to do with all these? And the guy replies, well, I taught my dog to swallow them, and now he shits in little plastic baggies. Wait. Oh, here's another long one. Okay. David Jones has a joke. A man passes away, and we got all these dying and going to heaven jokes. A man passes away and goes to heaven. Upon arriving at the pearly gates, St. Peter says, come on in, and I'll show you around. I really think you're going to like it here. Walking through the gates, the man notices that there were clocks everywhere. It appears that heaven is nothing more than a giant clock warehouse. I didn't read about that part. Surprised at how heaven looks, the man asks St. Peter, what's the deal with all these clocks? And St. Peter says, they keep track of everybody on earth. There is one clock for every single person. Every time someone tells a lie, his clock moves forward 1 minute. For instance, this clock belongs to Sam, a used car salesman, and if you look at it closely, it will move any second. Click! The minute hand on Sam's clock moves forward 1 minute. And then click! It moves forward another minute. Sam must be closing a big deal right now, says St. Peter. The minute hand on his clock moves all day long. The man and St. Peter continue walking and soon come across a clock covered with cobwebs. Whose clock is that? Asked the man. That clock belongs to Lorielle New. She is one of the finest people on earth. I bet her clock hasn't moved in a year or two. They begin walking and touring heaven, and the man enjoys watching the clocks of all of his friends. When the tour is finally finished, the man says, I see everyone's clock but one. And the man says, where is Donald Trump's clock kept? And St. Peter smiles and says, oh, look up there. We're using it as a ceiling fan. Woo! Marcel has another one. Okay. A lady with a frog stuck to her head went to the doctor's office. The doctor asked her what was wrong. The frog replies, I've got something stuck on my ass. Wait. Linda's got another joke. This man goes to confession and says, forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. And the priest asks if he would like to confess his sins, and the man replies that he used the F word over the weekend. The priest says, oh, okay, well then say three Hail Marys and try to watch your language. The man replies that he would like to confess to why he said the F word, and the priest sighs and says, okay, continue, my son. And, well, Father, I was playing golf on Sunday with my buddies, and instead of going to church, the priest says, and you got upset over that and you swore? No, the man replies, that wasn't why I swore. The first tee I took, the first, I, oh, hang on, it just moved. No, on the first tee, I duck hooked my drive well left into the trees. And the priest says, and that's why you swore. And the man replies a little testily because of the constant interruptions. No, it wasn't. When I walked up to the fairway, I noticed my ball got a lucky bounce and I had a clear shot to the green. However, before I could hit the ball, a squirrel ran over and grabbed my ball and scurried up a tree. And the priest said, and that's when you said the F word. And the man replies, no, because then an eagle flew by and caught the squirrel in its sharp talons and flew away. And the priest lets out a breath and says, is that when you said the F word? And the man says, no, because the eagle flew over the green, and the dying squirrel let go of my golf ball, and it landed within 5 inches of the hole. And the priest screamed, don't tell me you missed the putt. Don't tell me you missed the fucking puck. Wait. Oops. Oops, I knocked out one of my, oh. Well, I think I think that's the end. David Jones says, and the punchline is 3 miracles and he missed the putt. Marcel has one. George set out on a very windy day to see his friend Sam, who was sick in bed. Hours later, he pulled his weary body into Sam's house, and Sam asked him, how was it? I'll tell you, it was brutal. For every step I took, I fell back 2 steps. Then how did you even make it over here? Sam asked. Well, I finally just gave up, and so I turned around and headed home and found myself here. And no, Sam, the jokes aren't actually about you. They're just general jokes. A frog goes to a fortune teller and asks if he can meet a young girl. The psychic says, yes, you will. And the frog replies, where? In a bar or at a party? And the psychic says, in biology class. Uh-oh. That won't end well. Why does the frog want to meet a young girl anyhow? If he's not a prince, it doesn't matter. Linda has one. A grandfather is watching her grandchildren playing on the beach when a huge wave comes out and takes him out to sea. She pleads, please, God, save my only grandson. I beg of you, bring him back. And the big wave comes and washes the boy back into the beach. Good as new. And she looks up in heaven and says, he had a hat. Never satisfied. Okay, David Jones has another one. Tom and Becky were celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary, and Tom says to Becky, Becky, I was wondering, have you ever cheated on me? And Becky replies, oh, Tom, why would you ask such a question? You don't want to ask that question. Yes, Becky, I really want to know, please. Well, all right, yes, 3 times. What? Says Tom. 3? Well, when were they? He asked. Well, Tom, Remember when you were 35 years old and you really wanted to start that business on your own and had no bank that would give you a loan? Remember that one day the bank president himself came over to the house and signed the loan papers, no questions asked. Oh, Becky, you did that for me? Oh, I love and respect you even more than ever to do such a thing for me. So, wow, what was number 2 then? Well, Tom, remember when you had that last heart attack and you were needing that one very tricky operation and no surgeons would even try to operate on you? Then remember how our old doctor came all the way up here to do the surgery himself, and then you were as good as new and back in great shape again? And Tom is so touched. He says, oh my God, I can't believe it, Becky, that you would do such a thing, make such a sacrifice to save my life. I couldn't ask for a more wonderful wife to do such a thing. You must really love me, darling. So what was number 3 then? Well, Sam, remember a few years ago when you really wanted to be president of the golf club and you were 17 votes short? Oh, Becky. Do anything for Tom. Marcel has it. Marcel has one. Marcel says, one night, Joe was out drinking, only to find the next morning he woke up and had 2 rings around his penis. Immediately, he went to see the doctor, and the doctor says, I have some good news and some bad news. The good news is the red ring is lipstick, and the bad news is the brown ring is skull. Tom doesn't know whether to cheer or cry. Linda, maybe Tom should just shower next time. Linda Polly has a joke. A guy joins a monastery and takes a vow of silence. He's allowed to say 2 words every 7 years. After the first 7 years, the elders bring him in and ask for his 2 words. Cold floors, say the man. They nod and send him away. 7 years later, he comes back, and they ask him what his 2 words are now. And he says, bad food. They nod and send him away. 7 more years pass, and they bring him in for his next 2 words. And he says, I quit. And the elders say, well, that's not surprising, because all you've done since you got here is complain. Okay, David Jones has one more. Ralph was on his deathbed, and his wife and children were gathered around him. Suddenly, the aroma of chopped liver filled the room. Ralph perked up a bit and says to his wife, that's it, one last time before I die. I must have some of your delicious chopped liver. Ralph's wife looks at him sadly and says, sorry, Ralph, it's for after. What? Marcel has one. Says, I'm single now, and it's really weird for me to be dating again because for the last 3 years I've just been cheating. And that's our Funny Friday. It's almost 6 o'clock. I am just about to sign off, but I want to thank you guys for coming to see me because you're awesome, and I hope everybody's going to have a happy, healthy, and safe and memorable Memorial weekend. Thank you to everyone who has sacrificed and given so much of themselves that we're memorializing this weekend. Oh, Marcel has one last one. 2 coins add up to 30 cents, and one of them is not a nickel. The answer is a quarter and a nickel, because only one of them is not a nickel. Woohoo! Thank you for all of your jokes. Let me say goodbye to everybody. Allura Star and Shocker and Sturgis Guy and Tesis and House of Dave and Sam and St. Clinton and Eric and Petey and Tim and Ryan and Photo and Philip Chandler and Mark Mean and Star Raven and Ian G. Tomlinson and Fairy Sliver and Lucky Girl and Azure Yusuf and the Crim and Marcel and Jim Dandy and Sturgis Guy and Bill Knaus and Scott Kimmis and Red Stapler and John McCain and Joe Barney and Blair Cooper and Brett and Terry Sue and N1QOV and Motomedic and Jay Dahlman and Max and Cosmic Joe and Boot and Swede and St. Clinton and Sam. Thank you so much for checking in. You guys are awesome. And Wing Doggy. Marcel says, why does a dog lick himself? Because he can't make a fist. Oh, because he can. Bye. I love you guys. I'll see you on Tuesday. Bye. Bye, Tesis. No, I said Tesis. Bye. Bye. I love you guys. See you. Have an awesome weekend. Make sure I didn't miss anyone. Okay, you guys rock. Bye. I love you all. Bye.